Hey guys, welcome back. So now it's been a minute since we talked Avengers, or at least since I've done a video that was only about what's going on in your 2018 Avengers run. And mainly because we've been referencing the things going on a different playlist, whether it was Ghost Rider, Immortal Hulk, or Black Panther. But this direction that is taken now, with Jason Aaron going into the Age of Khonshu, the way it begins is nothing short of extraordinary. So let's get into it. But first, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to catch the spills every week. And don't forget to hit that bell up top so we can squat up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so jumping right in with Mark Spector, who we know is the avatar of Khonshu. We find him praying outside of the hidden city of Kunlun, which in my mind initially had me like, what is this dude, lost? Because anybody with Netflix and poor decision making, they know this city is tied to Iron Fist. And it definitely still is, but Moon Knight had came here with the intention of seeking the Iron Fist. And so of course Danny Rand comes out and he introduces himself because these two are never really met per se. And he's a bit curious why Moon Knight would come here because Danny is much easier to access in New York. And it's also peculiar that Moon Knight had tripped every alarm intentionally in order to draw him out. But as it turns out, when Mark said he was seeking the Iron Fist, he more so meant the mantle rather than Danny, which has Danny super confused because he knows that this dude has a history of schizophrenia. So Danny figures that Mark coming here is just a byproduct of that. But he couldn't be any wronger because Mark assures him that he's not out of his mind. He introduces himself as the Fist of Khonshu, and then he delivers that fist like a Street Fighter button masher. Like he gives Danny the business. But with doing so, we come to find out that this is just the beginning of Khonshu making his way to the forefront, and with doing so, placing every god from every Avenger underneath him. And with doing this on the night of the biggest supermoon, he intends to make his complete rounds consecutively. And immediately after visiting the Iron Fist, he then goes for Doctor Strange in the Eye of Agamotto. And initially I thought that this would also point back to the Vishanti as well, who had made Strange Sorcerer Supreme. But with Mark only coming for the Eye of Agamotto here, with no mention of the Vishanti, it's likely because Agamotto was the first Sorcerer Supreme, and he had left the Vishanti many years back. Or better yet, got kicked out. At least I believe that's how it went down at one point. But after Strange, he then goes for Robbie Reyes, the Ghost Rider. But in this case, he doesn't take him head on, because if Mark did, for him that would probably be suicide. But instead, when he goes by Robbie's house, he does something that wakes Robbie up in the middle of the night, with Robbie burning on his insides because Moon Knight straight up just stole his car. Like he literally just took off with the Hell Charger, which is absolutely nuts. But once again, Mark is able to do a lot of these crazy things, mainly because of this supermoon, which is the biggest in 1 million years. And so after this, we make our way to Wakanda, to where at this point when he arrives, T'Challa is pretty much sure what he's after, and mainly because he was informed by Doctor Strange, but also because he was informed about Danny Rand and what happened to Robbie Reyes as well. But for Mark, taking T'Challa's power doesn't come as easy as he would assume. And initially, like, T'Challa's very straight up with him. He's like, I know why you're here, I'll just go with you, like I'll just come peacefully. And my first thought is T'Challa did this so he can likely trick him like he did Mephisto, with the whole take my soul, whoops, my soul ain't mine, because it belongs to Bast. But it's here that Mark tells him it's not going to be that easy and not that peaceful, and when he tries to take T'Challa's power, nothing happens. And it's mainly because the root of T'Challa's power, it's not so much an amulet or the heart-shaped herb, but rather it's in his bloodline. So to take his power, he would literally have to kill him. But after that, he then moves on because I guess he's just like, well, the Black Panther, he tripping, like we're gonna have to circle back around to that one. But with doing so, next on his list is Thor, who at this time was making his way back to Earth because Captain America informed him of what was going on, and it's here where Thor finds Mark Spector on the moon. And as far as time frame in relation to what we're talking about in Thor, all we really know is that this is some point after, because we see Thor in his cosmic fit, so all we do know is that this is after Brood infected Thor. But it's here where Thor confronts Moon Knight. Like, this is where it gets crazy, because when he tells Mark that he knows what he's done and he tells him to stand down, Mark says nothing, and Thor's like, I was hoping you'd say that, and he goes full Mjolnir on him. But it's here where Mark stops Mjolnir in mid-air, and he tells Thor, like, you don't even know what this is. You swung around this hammer for hundreds of years, and sure, you know it's made of Uru metal, which has a high potency of enchantments and is nearly unbreakable, but he lets him know that he has no clue to his true history. Because in addition to the history of Uru metal being as old as time, Mark also lets him know that it's the rubble from the days of creation, and that it's a vestige of the great splintering, almost as if it was a part of a remnant of what once was. But it's here where Moon Knight lets Thor know that Uru originates from the first orb of night, which means in layman terms that Uru is made of moon rock, which is insane. And I know Thor gotta be thinking like, every time I come to the moon, something bad happens. Because if it ain't Nick Fury whispering in your ear and making you unworthy, then it's Moon Knight telling you it's hammer time, because Uru metal apparently originated from the first moon ever. But also with doing this, Mark then uses the power from the Eye of Agamotto to call for a number of moons far and wide to make their way here and trap Thor in the middle. But when Mark does this, we also find out that at this point, he's also referring to himself under the identity of Stephen Grant, which as far as Moon Knight and multiple personalities go, it was like one of the first ones to manifest. But recently, when Khonshu had given Mark this illusion of being in like this mental facility, to where at the end of it, Mark had embraced his multiple personality disorder, and Khonshu had actually caused him to find a harmony between all these different identities. And it really feels like it's here where Jason Aaron is using a lot of that to usher in the beginning of the Age of Khonshu. But at this point, with Moon Knight only having collected the Iron Fist, the Eye of Agamotto, and the enchantment of Uru, he still has to pursue the Black Panther, the Phoenix, and Starbrand. And to do so, he claims that he cannot do this alone, which more specifically he's referring to Jake Lockley and Mr. Knight. And with doing this, it almost makes it seem as if these multiple personalities, to whom he mentions he'll need their help, it seems as if Khonshu has always ordered his steps, even going as far back as his personality disorder, which Mark struggled with even before becoming Moon Knight. But it's also here where we get a glimpse of why Khonshu is doing this, why he's stacking up all this power, which he expresses is for the reasoning of defeating the devil and saving the world. And in the case of devils, I'm pretty sure that that's in reference to Mephisto, with him appearing in a number of these Avengers issues since 2018. But real quick, like in reference to the remaining power, which Khonshu was requesting to be collected, we know that Mark, or Steven, or whatever he's going by, he still needs power from Black Panther, to whom at this time has resecured the protection of the hidden Starbrand baby, who had been discovered recently because when the mother who was pregnant with this child, who was also a prisoner in Shi'ar space, she began to manifest the power of Starbrand closer to the time where she was going into labor. And with Gladiator's solution pretty much just being killing this pregnant woman to prevent this power from destroying everything, this then began an all-out brawl between the Avengers, the different heralds of Galactus, and between Gladiator, all geared towards the fate of what this woman and her unborn child would be. And in the middle of this brawl, she was assisted with the birth by Steve Rogers, but unfortunately she had died shortly after. But with this happening, the fight then simmered down, and mainly because at this point, Gladiator wasn't going to try and kill a baby, so he called back his forces and urged the Avengers to just get that child out of Shi'ar space, which currently puts the Avengers in this crazy position of raising this super powerful Starbrand baby, who they know now at this point is being pursued by Khonshu. And also now, after Moon Knight's current actions, both T'Challa and Steve Rogers have stepped up security for this baby in order to make sure that Khonshu doesn't get his hands on her. But last and certainly not least, there's the Phoenix, which I'm sure is going to be a huge difficulty for Moon Knight to get his hands on, especially with the current situation with Krakoa. And though we're not given at this point any leads to how he will be pursuing the Phoenix, we do know that Krakoa has a number of previous Phoenix avatars with the likes of Jean Grey, Kid Omega, who we've seen recently in X-Force, but also Rachel Summers, who we'll soon see as a part of the new X-Factor team. And I gotta say, at face value, I don't know how Moon Knight or Khonshu is gonna pull this off, but if they do, it'll likely have some type of connection to what we've seen with Excalibur, to where we've seen Apocalypse using lunar magic in his pursuit for the Starlight Citadel, which means this could only get better, and I cannot wait to see where Jason Aaron goes with this. But real quick, I just want to give a shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support, and for anyone who wants information on how to support the channel, I got a link down below where you can head to patreon.com/Dopespill. Or if you rather just do a one-time contribution, those are also appreciated, and I have that information down in the description as well. To where along with that, shout out to John A, who sent a modest contribution a couple days ago, so I just wanted to shout him out and say thanks. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts on the beginning of the Age of Khonshu, because to be honest, like, this could go crazy. But let me know your thoughts down below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.